really good at stretching things, so I will do that. Also, shout out to Blurb Club. That's my usual interaction with Congress Square Park. Yeah, CJ. So come join us every other Thursday to talk about books. So I have a slightly unusual hobby in that I'm a public historian who does historical reenactment, which means that I put on old-timey clothes that I've made and, to an extent, act out historical events. For me, it's more about showing what life was like for women, for civilians, for people who were affected by the past, not so much the boom boom crap, but whatever. However, for a long time I did kind of the mid-level reenactment. And then one year I was invited to join the progressive reenactment, which is top tier, like the cool kids of reenactment. There are cool kids in reenactment, to be clear. So I was pretty nervous, and for this event, which was the Battle of Lexington and Concord, you may have heard of it, it was a juried event, which meant that you had to be approved. We came a month early, and our clothing was inspected. Now I sew everything by hand and make it the way it was made in the 1770s. But still, I was nervous, and I was with people I'd just met, only once, and I really wanted them to think I was cool. The very tangential connection to the word homing is that when I'm nervous, I tend to turn to weird facts and plants. Often weird facts about plants. That's my sort of homing beacon, pulls me back to security. So this year it was March, and we were in Lexington, which is essentially a bog. And there was all of this skunk cabbage growing everywhere. And I really think skunk cabbage is cool. It smells weird, it's pretty, and it grows in a swamp. Enough said. So I went to the practice, the juried practice, and with all of these really cool people in McAlpin's Corps of Loyal American Volunteers, who I wanted to think I was cool, we walked along the boardwalk through the rows of skunk cabbage, and I said something to the effect of, "Hey, did you know that skunk cabbage is technically edible, but it has oxalic acid in it, which means that it will burn your mouth and every other part of you, both in and out. So it's a great thing to give to your enemies." And then I forgot that I'd ever said that. So we came back a month later to do the real reenactment, and I had been approved, and I'd even made myself a new gown. And I looked great, and I felt like part of the crew, but I was still a little bit nervous. So, as we were preparing for the real battle, walking along the boardwalk, apparently, I remember none of this, I said, "Hey guys, did you know that skunk cabbage is technically edible, but it has oxalic acid crystals in it, which means that it will burn you both inside and out, and it's a great thing to give to your enemies?" And they just sort of looked at me. And then apparently, a few minutes later, I said it again. And one of the president at the time, my now friend Lacey, spoiler alert, we're friends now, turned to me and said, "Honey, are you nervous?" And I said, "Why? How could you tell?" And for some reason, they kept me, so it worked. Clearly, dropping skunk cabbage facts is a great way to seem cool. Pro tip. And I've been reenacting with them for 6 years. So it turned out okay for me. But every time we go to the Battle of Lexington and Concord and I pass my sort of homing beacon of a plant, they say, "Hey Hannah, guess what? Did you know that skunk cabbage is technically edible, but it has oxalic acid crystals in it, so it'll burn you inside and out, and it's a great thing to give to your enemies?" And I just walk away. Thanks.